friends, welcome back to Education for Sustainable Development course. So, in the last class we have discussed about ESD, how ESD plays a very major role, important role and vital role in in changing our attitude, in changing our behavior and bringing transformation in our lifestyle, in our society. So, we will continue with that only, with that ESD component only. So, as all of us we know that the ESD comes under quality education, that is SDG 4, that quality education is about what we are learning, how people learn, its relevance in today's context, in the context of global challenges, and how it influences people's preferences, their choices, their behavior. So, in this context ESD plays a very important. So, many now agree that quality education for sustainable development actually reinforces people's sense of responsibility as a global citizen, and they can better prepare themselves, groom themselves, nurture themselves, develop themselves and get themselves ready for the world, for being the global citizen and to behave responsibly in the world platform, in the global platform. So, across that is why all across the levels of education, be it formal, non-formal, informal, or be it school level, be it research level, be it higher education, whatever may be the thing. So, ESD has to not only be implemented, included and put forth, but it has to be emphasized, it has to be rigorously emphasized, advocated and practiced again and again to put into the mindset of the people. So, that is so that ESD is also helping in advancing the change in teaching and learning process. That means, ESD should be not only talked about, discussed and but it has to be bring to the thought process in the consciousness of the people through rigorous training, through rigorous rigorous practices, rigorous lectures series, rigorous case studies, rigorous. So, it has to be embedded in all our teaching, learning and practice, other day to day practices. So, how ESD can bring the change in teaching, learning processes, bringing the approaches like that stimulate the peoples to ask the questions. So, the pedagogical level, like for example, at pedagogical level, if you want to emphasize it and put forth it. So, now we will encourage our students to ask many questions, not only to themselves, but to their peers, to analyze, to think critically, to synthesize all the things, to have a perspective, global perspective in thinking in the global perspective, thinking in the in its global world scope in the so that to make the decisions and right choices in their behavior. So, no, it is not just confined to my wishes, my achievements, my goals and my things, but how to think, how to aspire, how to achieve, how to analyze, how to develop a global perspective, not only what is possible, what is suitable, what is positive, what is easier, what is helpful for me, but for others as well. So, in the social perspective, in the global or the community level, what is good for others, what is we have to be, that means more of service oriented towards others. Not only we make our life happy and healthy, healthier and happier, but how we can make others life happier, how we can make the society happier, how can we make our community healthy society, community and so that we can engage ourselves and engage others in a very all kinds of successful community activities, well-being and welfare activities. So, that is being cooperative, being collaborative rather than being competitive should be the pedagogical approach. Yes, competition in the group setup, competition in the group level, competition at the group level is very productive, in the sense that when the one group competes with other and moreover the groups are heterogeneous in nature. So, definitely the output, the productivity will be higher. But instead of individual competition, instead of individualistic approach to sustainability, where we should develop collaborative approach, cooperative approach. So, that would be more learner centric, that would be more student centric, that will be more people centric, that would be more stakeholder or customer centric. So, that is why education is an important means of implementation for sustainable development. So, it helps to harmonize the tensions between economic, social and environmental development and integrate them into single concept and the pursuit. So, as we have already discussed that it has the three major domains. One is the economic economic aspects, financial aspect, prosperity, etc. Another is the social domain, that the people domain, social domain, and another is the environment domain. So, environmental resources, when environmental resources and the human resources and the financial resources, all these three resources when they interact with each other, then sustainability or the development takes place. So, how ESD can make it a very successful, very positive, very profitable and very sustainable approach. So, sustainable thing, be it business, be it any social interpersonal relationship, be it environmental environmental resources or mining or the minerals or activities, whatever may be the activities and the resources in any of the domains, all the three domains interact with each other constantly, continuously. So, definitely there will be that means there is bound to be some kind of tension, some kind of conflicts are there which are inevitable. So, how to resolve these conflicts arising out of this interplay of these three domain factors? So, that is to develop how the ESD can play a very, you can say a very liaisoning factor, very conducive factor for, can you say, to mitigate, not only to mitigate and resolve the conflicts across the drivers, but also can guide them, can take forward these things towards a very positive and successful goal achievement towards sustainability. So, that is why it is a single concept with multiple action plans, multiple pursuits. ESD is a concept, is very single, very simple and one word concept, but its implications are enormous, its pursuits are continuous, lifelong, and its activities and dimensions are multiple. So, now let us discuss about this briefly. Now, we have already defined what is ESD is. Now, let us discuss what are the essential characteristics of ESD. So, definitely again, when we are proposing ESD in our school curriculum, in our policy documents, in our governance, etc. So, it is primarily based on certain principles and values that underlie sustainability. So, definitely ESD is going to have some basic characteristic features of having the principles and the values that advocate, that promote sustainable development. So, the ideals with well-being of all the three realms of sustainability, like whenever we are implementing or advocating ESD or practicing ESD through curriculum content pedagogy. So, it has to address all the three domains equally, that is environmental issues, social issues and economic issues, that is prosperity. So, that is why we can say people, planet and prosperity. So, now moreover sometimes also we add peace as a component also. Suppose in the present day context, peace as a component, then justice can also be included. So, depending on the priorities we are giving in the different context, environmental context. So, it promotes, definitely it promotes the lifelong learning. It promotes lifelong learning. It should be culturally appropriate in the sense that it should not hurt anybody's sentiment across the culture. It should welcome, it should leverage cultural diversity, it should take care of other local needs, it should also care about other cultural aspects, values, perceptions, people's backgrounds. Then so the primary goal is how to bring sustainability or sustainable development, both addressing the local needs of the people, stakeholders, etc., as well as fulfilling or achieving the international targets, international goals. Okay. So, it has the implications for the international and global context, global issues, how at the same simultaneously with while addressing the or fulfilling the local needs of the people, local needs of the community. Okay. So, next thing is that it engages formal and non-formal and informal education. So, ESD that means we have to bring into the framework in such a way that ESD can be incorporated in the formal instruction, like in our school, college education, formal education system in terms of course, content, pedagogy, everything. Informal also, in informal way also we can educate others through organizing different workshops, short term courses, webinars and case studies and the surveys and the workshops and the action research things, all kinds of. So, informally also and non-formally also, like for example, in the rural sector, in rural community, among the agriculture farmers, industry workers and service sector in people also, everywhere in any we can also educate them, teach them or educate them in a non-formal way, So, it can be engaged, it can be applied, it can be implemented both in the formal, non-formal, informal platforms as well. So, it accommodates evolving the nature of the concept of sustainability and addresses the content, taking into account the context, global issues and the local priorities. So, here another two things, that it is based on certain principles and values. It addresses not only the local priorities, local demands, local needs of the people, but also it addresses the global issues like in the present context we can say the climate change, then terrorism and the international conflict, that ethnic violence. These are the global issues which has to be addressed, which have to be addressed by this ESD component. So, this the YouTube link is there, we can also go through for the details. So, that the basic purpose, the basic goal of ESD is that like to create the world that is more just, peaceful and sustainable. Yes, sustainable means definitely sustainable is such a concept. So, it automatically incorporates positive connotations like peace should be there, happiness should be there, prosperity should be there, global that means brotherhood feeling should also be there, and economic independence should also be there, achievements should also be there, sharing and caring for others should be there, service orientation should be there. So, all kinds of these positive attributes should be there. It's sustainable means it automatically encompass all these positive connotations like peaceful society, prosperity, just society, then knowledge society, then empowered societies, then skilled society, then heightened awareness, self actualization, spiritual bent of mind, we can say spiritual bent of mind, then empathetic attitude towards others, helping others and then appreciating others values and cultural practice and systems, everything, all these positive attributes are the component are automatically incorporated in the concept sustainable. Okay. So, that is why ESD is about shaping a better tomorrow for all, and it must start today. Therefore, the slogan is that that means the slogan is that the dedication and the common voice is that ESD should be planned, should be chalked out, should be implemented, should be designed and should be practiced in such a way that it should shape our future, it should shape our lifestyle, it should shape our society, our behavior, thought process for a better tomorrow for all. So, it's a you can say it's a strategic approach, strategic tool to bring that transformation, to bring the transformative changes within the society, in the global context, so that it can better shape our tomorrow in a very comfortable and sustainable way. So, that is, and it should begin from today also. Although most of the countries, almost all the developing and developed countries, they are already practiced, they have already initiated since 2015, initiated some of the major action plans and steps and strategies towards this since 2015. So, it is to achieve all the 17 goals for India. So, it becomes our responsibility, and we are accountable for this, we are responsible for this, to bring and make our country, our society a sustainable society, so that we can protect our tomorrow for all future generation people. So, another is that to build a civil capacity, for the community based decision making, social tolerance, environmental stewardship, adaptable workforce and quality of life. So, these are all interdisciplinary things, like for example, civil society, then social tolerance, people should develop this social tolerance, environmental stewardship, adaptable workforce for enhancing the quality of life, and the community based decision is not just autocratic and bureaucratic kind of decisions, but it is a community based, that means based decisions taken in a very consensus way. So, ESD is such a component that no particular domain or discipline can claim that it is our subject, it's all pervasive, it's omnipresent. That means ESD can be incorporated in any of the subject, in any way, in any pedagogical pedagogical practices. So, ESD is not just confined to education, but ESD is it can be a vehicle for achieving this sustainability in any subject, be it physics, chemistry, law, education, whatever. So, it is not confined to one discipline, rather it is interdisciplinary, it is transdisciplinary, and it also uses the varieties of pedagogical techniques that promote participatory learning. Nowadays with post globalization, we are also advocating for with the remote learning, virtual learning, ICT learning tools. So, we are promoting more group learning, team based learning, participatory learning, action research, higher order thinking skills like creativity, innovation, and critical thinking. And we are also advocating for the problem based learning, project based learning, collaborative learning, then global partnership, networking. Okay. So, and all kinds of higher order thinking, rather the deep learning skills, then the 21st century sustainability competences, all these things are higher level learning and thinking processes we are advocating. So, ESD should be you can say it is a foundation stone of all kinds of activities, be it whatever we are doing, whatever we are teaching, whatever we are introducing, whatever we are practicing, ESD should be a platform, it should be a basic foundation of all our activities. So, ESD for achieving SDG 4.7. So, how for achieving SDG 4.7 ESD plays a major role. Okay, let us see. So, now it has started with the Declaration on the Right to Development, and it was implemented in 1986 by the member states of United Nations. So, that means with this document, that is Declaration on the Rights to Development in 1986 by the member states of UN. So, this declaration categorically stated that that everyone is entitled to participate in, contribute to, and enjoy economic, social, cultural, and the political development. So, here it has started with initiated with the 1986 declaration of United Nations member states, that everyone, according to this declaration, everyone, every citizen, every individual is entitled to participate in activities, to contribute towards economic development, social cohesiveness, cultural practices, and political development, in which all the human rights and the fundamental freedoms can be fully realized. So, here we can see that these fundamental rights like human rights and fundamental human rights and freedoms are getting the utmost priority here. Human rights and fundamental freedoms can be fully realized. So, every individual's potentialities, positive strengths, and aptitudes and abilities can be fully utilized, fully realized. So, this declaration also confirms that the states have the duty to cooperate with each other in ensuring the development and eliminating the obstacles of development. So, it is not just the countries or the centers or the it is not centers responsibility, but the states also as a major stakeholder. States also should confirm that they are actively engaged in cooperating with each other in ensuring the development across the country and across the globe as well. So, for eliminating obstacles, because in the environmental context also, even though we have the boundaries like this is this state, that state, etc., but there are some overlapping areas are also there, some common areas are there, some common issues are also there. So, as a result of this, some of the conflicts also takes place, some of the dilemmas and takes place. So, how to resolve mutually in a very cohesive manner, in a very positive way. So, mutually cohesive way, how to resolve our conflicts and how to transform these conflicts and dilemmas into our advantage, into our positive outcomes. So, the next is that the right to development is not about the clarity, but enablement and empowerment. So, here the right to development, human rights and the freedom is not just confined to our charity, is not about the charity, but also about an enablement, empowerment. That means, we have to not only empower the people with skill and competencies, we have to give them the opportunity also. We have to enable them to carry out certain activities, some professional activities, engagements, etc. So, that is where the declaration identifies the obstacles in the development process that empowers the individuals and calls for an enabling environment and good governance. So, here how to empower and enable our citizens? By providing and promoting the good ecosystem, enabling environment with the opportunities and scopes and resources, and with the good governance both at the national level and the international level. So, which can enhance the accountability of the duty bearers, that is which enhances our moral responsibility, our our moral obligations, more that. So, the accountability of duty bearers, that means whoever is holding different kinds of posts, then governments, donors and recipients, and the international organizations, transnational corporations, civil society. So, it is everybody's responsibility. So, every citizen, every organization, every institution becomes responsible and accountable to serve the people, serve the nation, and serve the global citizens. So, in 2016 it marks as the declaration of the 30th anniversary of these declarations, and yet today many children and women they still live in the dire need of fulfillment of the entitlement of life with dignity, freedom. So, freedom and equal opportunity. So, automatically even in this evolution process also, now so many new right to food, right to education, right to justice, right to vote, all kinds of things, human rights, and all kinds of things are coming up one by one. So, that means how to fill up these gaps, that means gaps in the poverty, that means the poor and rich, gaps in the food shortage and the climate change, financial crisis. So, how to deal with all these gap areas like corruption, starting from the corruption to misappropriation of the public funds, then armed conflict, rising unemployment, and other kinds of pressing challenges that we are facing nowadays. So, how to represent a collective failure to realize how they will, we have already discussed that with the Millennium Development Goals, when it was evaluated later on, monitored and evaluated later on. So, then the member states, the stakeholders, they can identify that a lot of gaps are there in Millennium Development Goals, and where we have failed to achieve these things. So, therefore, from time to time we need also need to evaluate these things, need to monitor and evaluate these things. So, we can say whenever there are the different gaps, huge gaps in the food sector, in the health facility sector, in the employment sector, in the that means air quality sector or etc., pollution and air quality etc. And we have to take the collective responsibility of our failure. So, to realize the right to development, and the failure in turn directly affects the realization of the wide range of civil, political, economic, social and cultural rights. So, when we deeply analyze and critically evaluate and reflectively think and critically evaluate our own shortcomings, our weaknesses, our disadvantages etc., definitely we can realize that we need to develop a wide range of civil rights, political rights, economic rights, social rights, cultural rights, and value systems and the action plans to move towards the sustainable development. Because from time to time we have to monitor, self-evaluate it, reflect upon it, get the feedback from different stakeholders, then consult with the experts, then revise our strategies, so that from time to time we can achieve sustainability in little bit, that means in the small quantum, in progressive way. So, therefore, as per the Broadland report, now our common future, that is sustainable development, is a process of change. So, in which the exploitation of resources and the direct investment, the orientation of technological development and institutional change are all in harmony to enhance both current and future potential to meet the human needs and aspirations. So, Broadland report, we can take it, or we have already discussed. The Broadland report is the foundation, is the first document to describe, to narrate, to emphasize on our common future. So, how our common future should be sustainable and that development should be progressive, and it is a continuous process of change, where we have to stop that, or where there will be no exploitation of resources, and the direct, and we are investing the resources in a very positive way, orientation towards technological development, investment in the worthwhile domains, and then how to bring the reforms through institutional change, so that all these drivers, all these domains can go can all prosper and grow in a very harmonious way, both for the present as well as for the future potentials of human life. Okay. So, human needs and actions. So, this is the broad lines reports, that means which is more holistic, more global, more it is a kind of very broad and global vision and mission of humanity as such. Okay. So, these are the basic contribution of subsequent global discussion that followed up by these broadline commissions and all the United Nations programs and the declaration, etc. That is to make it very simple and very precise, the sustainable development describes the process of individuals or the social groups to achieve sustainability in the every domain of their life, in the every domain, be it education, health, work, entertainment, consumption, but in every aspect and every domain of our life, how to bring that change in our lives, in our development process. So, this is the, you can say, this is the YouTube link is also there. So, we can say it is a constant interplay of human development index. So, here even UN is also having some certain parameters in human development index in the human development index. So, in human development index there are n number of factors, n number of parameters, n number of aspects are there. So, there is a constant interplay of this SDI index and ecological and SDI parameters and index and ecological footprint, sustainable development. So, is considered as the path leading towards the green corner of the model. So, how to make our a green society, green marketing, green business. So, to make it greener society, green future. Okay. So, where from where the wherever the individual, social group and the whole nation to start a new beginning, new era of green life, we can say. Okay. So, sustainable lifespan. So, now we are closing this session here only. So, then the next class we can continue with other things. Thank you very much.